Hey guys, so for those of you who do not know who I am Ariel. I am a chef. I went to Schoolcraft College in Michigan. One of my friends convinced me to put together videos on quick meals to do at home, on how to put together meals when you don't really have much in your cabinets. So today I'm going to start off with just a quick meal for two. I'm going to do pork chops, mashed potatoes, and corn. For those of you who do not eat pork, you can substitute the pork chops with turkey chops. So I'm going to prep a few things to get us started, and yeah, we'll just see how it goes. Thanks. So I have everything prepped. Here I have my pork chops. I did boneless, and it's 2 per person, so I have 4. I peeled my potatoes. You can use Idaho or russet. Today I'm using russet. I did 1 can of whole kernel corn, and I plan on frying my pork chops. So I did flour and egg wash. In this egg wash, I put 3 whole eggs, about 2 tablespoons of water, and about 3 teaspoons of whole milk. If you can't have milk, you can just add water. If you like to add different seasonings, you can add that there. For my pork chops, there is still a little bone here and some cartilage, so I'm going to cut that off of all of them. I'm going to double check my potatoes for any brown marks like there are here, and I'm going to remove those because it'll change the color of the potatoes after they're cooked when you mash them. And I'm also going to cut the potatoes into about maybe a 1x1 cube, and that'll be for even cooking when I boil them. So I have checked on my potatoes, and I cut them down into small pieces. The size does not matter how small, just as long as they're pretty much even for even cooking. I removed the bones and cartilage from the pork chops, and I went ahead and seasoned them on both sides. Some people like to season their flour or like to season their egg wash, but I just prefer to season my actual meat so I can see how much I'm putting on there. I did a mixture of things: onion powder, garlic powder, salt, pepper, and a few other things. And now I'm going to start my potatoes first because that takes the longest to cook. So get a pot that's pretty much will fit everything. So I got my pot of potatoes. I'm going to add water. Some people like to cook them in milk. It just depends on your preference. And make sure you add enough until it covers your potatoes entirety. I like to add a little salt to mine. It's not necessary, but I like to add just a touch. And I'm going to put it on high to get it started. Okay, so my potatoes are on. I cut it on high to get it started. Now I'm going to start with my pork chops. They're cleaned, they're seasoned. I'm going to take one and dunk it in the egg wash. Make sure it's completely covered in egg wash. Let it drip drain. Get the excess egg wash off. Now I'm going to put it in my flour. You should usually use one hand with wet and one hand with dry, but since I'm holding the phone, I'm going to just use both hands. Use my one hand for both. Shake it. Make sure it's completely covered in flour. I'm just going to lay it on this plate until I finish the rest of them. So again, completely covered in egg wash, let it drip, flour, egg wash, completely covered. There's not enough room in this particular bowl. I'm gonna go ahead and cover, pat, shake it a little to get all the excess flour off. Again, it's usually better to use 2 hands One hand will be wet, one hand will be dry. So you won't end up like that. But for my purposes with my camera, I'm going to do it like this for now. This is the last one, completely covered in eggs. Completely covered. That's that. I'm going to let my potatoes come to a boil, and when they're almost done, I'll start the pork chops. You want to cook the pork chops in canola oil, vegetable oil, olive oil, whatever you prefer. And I'll show you how much to put in the pan, and we'll go from there. So the water's boiling. My potatoes have been boiling for about 10 to 15 minutes. You want to check them periodically. If you put a fork through them and see if they're fork tender, that means they are done. These are pretty much almost done, so I'm going to go ahead and get started with my pork chops. I'm going to put the corn in my pot. I added about 3 tablespoons of butter and all of my seasonings. I just added enough for me to see. I'll go back and add more if necessary. I'm going to cut this pan down just a little bit. So in order for you to see if it's hot, add a little flour. And that flour, as it's sizzling, that means your pan is hot, so you add your pork chops. So when adding meat to a pan, you always add it away from you. That way the oil won't splash back onto you. I'm going to add just 2 at a time. The pan's kind of small. I cut it down to medium. And I'm going to let that cook. Kind of a lot of oil, maybe a little less next time. There, I'm going to go ahead and cut my potatoes off because they are ready to drain. I've drained my potatoes completely. The pork chops are getting brown around the edge. So that means it's time to flip them. That golden brown. Flip them both. I cut my heat down to medium low so they won't burn. My potatoes have been drained. You can mash them. I like my potatoes kind of chunky, so I'm going to just whip them up with a large spoon. I'm going to add butter, salt, pepper, and a little bit of milk. If you don't want any milk, you don't have to add it, but I like to add milk and butter to mine. And then also earlier for the pork chops, you do not have to add egg white. You can just go straight into the flour. You can use, I use AP flour, which is all-purpose flour. You can use almond flour, whatever your preference is. So I'm gonna go ahead and get mashing on the, well, getting ready to whip the potatoes, because you don't want them to sit for too long, because then they become mushy and grainy. Pork chops are almost done. Just need to go maybe for another minute or so. I added 3 to 4 tablespoons of butter. Milk, just enough so you can see at the bottom. And I haven't added my salt and pepper yet. I'm going to go ahead and mix that up. Again, you can mash them. You put them through a strainer to make them smooth, but I like mine chunky. It's time to take the pork chops out because they're getting a little dark. I removed the pork chops. I put them onto a plate with a paper towel to drain the oil. I added just a little bit more milk to my mashed potatoes because they were a little thick. I'm going to go ahead and add the other 2 pork chops. Usually, if the oil is dark and dirty more than this, I would change it. But in this particular case, I'm going to add the other 2 pork chops. Alright, wash my hands, back to the mashed potatoes. They are just the consistency that I like. But I'm going to taste them. They can use more butter, more salt. Potatoes, usually, like, you need to add a lot of salt. You may think it's too much, but potatoes in particular, salt is your friend. So I'm going to add some salt. And more butter. I'm good on the milk. The consistency is good with the milk. I use salted butter. You can use unsalted, whatever you prefer. I'm going to add the rest of that. That's about another tablespoon. Let's go ahead and mix that up. More salt. Now is the perfect time to get your corn started. So I cut my corn on medium high. Get the butter melted because your pork chop will be done soon. And the potatoes are done. So I'm going to go ahead and taste them again. Perfect. So I'm going to go ahead and lid my potatoes to keep them hot while I finish up my pork chops. And the corn is on. The corn's on. I put it on medium high to get it started. Go ahead and mix it around, make sure the butter to the bottom so it can melt. I'm waiting on that. My pork chops are cooking. They're not ready yet. They're brown, but not brown enough on the other side, so I'm gonna let them cook for a minute. While that's cooking, I'm going to wash my dishes and get ready to clean up the rest of the stuff that I had earlier. It's time to go ahead and flip the pork chops. My corn's cooking. My butter's melting. It doesn't take long for the corn just enough to melt the butter and get it hot and to add the spices. I added white pepper to the mashed potatoes. They're hot and they're sitting, you're waiting. White pepper only. White pepper leaves the black spots in it. You can use black pepper if you like, but for presentation, white pepper is best. The pork chops, let these cook for another minute or two. Since they're thin, they should cook pretty fast. You don't have to worry about the internal temperature. Maybe 4 to 5 minutes on each side should be enough since they're thin to make sure that they're cooked. I'm going to cook on my corn. Corn's going. Pretty much done. Butter's pretty much melted. Taste it for your seasoning purposes. Corn's good. Hot. Butter's melted and seasoned. You can cut the corn off, put a lid on it to keep it warm. While you wait on your last 2 pork chops, which are almost pretty much done. Just another minute or so. And again, you're going to put those on a paper towel or whatever you use to let them dry, to drain, I should say. All the extra grease. A few more minutes. I'll remove those. And then that'll be it. You're ready to plate. Then we'll be ready. So everything is done. I went ahead and plated my dinner. I have the corn, the potatoes, and the pork chops. And the meal's all set and you're ready for dinner. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, subscribe, and comment on this video. You can find it here on my personal page, or you can find it on A Delicious Creation Inc. on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Thank you.